reverse engineering, which means how did they do it. In this episode, we'll take a closer look on some laser show videos, and I will try to recreate some particular effects on LaserOS with built-in Beam Creator. Buckle up and take a look. Alright, so in general we have a pretty straightforward animation over here, which is probably a circle, a circle, or some kind of hexagonal shape. So once we are in Beam Creator, go to Beam Pattern, Simple Shapes, here, add one, and let's go back to 2D preview right now. It will be a little bit easier for at the beginning, and we can play with type of shape. So let's go to the hexagonal, because I guess this one will be more similar to the one we saw on the video. We can change the size, because why not? And go to the style and change to dashed one, because that's what we saw over here. Number of dashes is way less, because we see 9 arms of that animation. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's correct. That's what we should get. Of course, we can play with color right now and set the one we would like to get. That was like some kind of light blue. So leave it like that. And since we saw that animation strobing or fading in and out, we can add effect, and it can be a power fader or strobe. So one way is to set strobe effect, which will be working to the music. That's kind of tricky if the sound notes are not constant, not the same. So it's not the best type of effect right now, and I would like to go with power fader, because in this way we can change how it will work from start power. So it will start on full power and end blackout, but the number of frames should be way less, like I don't know, maybe 15, because once we play it, is like just like flash. So that allows us to put it on the timeline as many times as we need in particular notes synchronized to the music. So we'll get pretty nice effect on time whenever we will need that in the song. Of course, we can reduce the number of frames to get it even quicker, even faster effect. And I guess that's all. So let's save it. Yeah, that's almost the same as we saw on the video. And another version of that effect is with additional dash on the dashes on these arms. So we can apply image effect and go to dots. I guess that will be okay, or dots pulse A. But to see if it works as expected, I would like to increase the number of frames of that power fader effect, so it will disappear a little bit slower. So save it as another animation. All right, and what we have right now is something like that. I guess it's pretty similar to what we saw on the video. So that's the way how I would like to recreate that effect. Another interesting effect you may like to incorporate into your laser shows is this one, these flying line. So I will show you how you can create that in easy steps. So first of all, we have to create some horizontal line. That's how we will start with this one. All right, but as we saw, we have a few of them, I guess 3, and these are way smaller, let's say, something like that. That's the first thing we can see over here. Right, what else we have? This line seems to have borders, line borders or dots at the beginning and end of each line. So we have to go to the settings of that pattern and add borders. All right. And as we have a few of them, every one with different color, let's put it, for example, this one as red. And we can see on the visualizer that this one is red inside with white dots on borders. So exactly what we wanted to get. So yeah, one thing is already done, but we can see it's like running around. So we need to add some effect. And of course, we have a few possible choices to make. For example, simple paths or maybe movement. But at that stage, in this example, I would like to go with simple paths because it go round and round. Of course, we have a few more options how to adjust that. For example, ellipse, yeah, or maybe figure eight horizontal, vertical, just straight line from left to right and backwards, maybe spiral. I don't know, that's how you would like to make it right. So let's move forward and let's try to recreate exactly what we have here. Okay, and it seems everything goes on the ellipse path type, but we need to I guess play a little bit with these sliders to make it go more from left to right, but probably with radius 1 and radius 2 sliders. So let's see if that's what we are looking. Yeah, that's exactly what we are looking for. Okay, I think it's exactly what we are looking for. And with the frame slider, we can adjust the pace, the speed of that animation. Right, as we can see, we have three different lines here. So the easiest way to recreate that is just use duplicate button, and we have 2 of them. So the only thing we have to do right now is to change color to make it more visible. All right, and if we restart the animation, we can see that it's applied, that it applied one on another, because we have exactly the same parameters on both animations, on both patterns. So it's good to change it, let's say, a little bit. And to do that, we can change the position. Yeah, because that one is for the position of the animation. We can change the direction to, let's say, anti-clockwise, and it will go like crazy, but in different position and different direction. Of course, we can reduce number of frames or increase number of frames to make it a little bit slower or faster, and we can change the position, starting position as well. And I guess that will be the best slider to use right now, because let's say we want to get everything in the same place and running in the same direction, but we don't want to get that overlapping on each other. Okay, and since we have 3 lines, let's add one more, different color. All right, and let's play with the starting position. All right, I guess that's exactly what we saw on the video. Of course, as you can see, we have different colors over here, but in my opinion it's just the special effect applied here, something from that effects tab. I don't know which one exactly, so you can play with it and have fun with results. Alright, so let's take a closer look to another video and we'll try to recreate that effect. This one. So what do we have here? I guess that we have two rotating squares. So these are rotating in own axis and doing a big circle on opposite sides. So first of all, we have to create at least one square. Let's start with simple shape, then go square, perfect. And if we want to get that running around, we have to shrink it a little bit, let's say to 20%. Yeah, that's fine. And we have to put it somewhere up or to the bottom, so it will make a perfect circle. We can use simple paths like that, perfect. But since that video showed it's running smoothly, it looks like it's some kind of circular movement. That's the first thing to do. Next thing, in my opinion, it's running around like around the own axis, so we have to add next movement. Let's see if variable rotation will fix that, and yes, that's exactly what we are looking for. Since we have a little bit more space over here, we can change the position or not, sorry, radius. Yes, I guess that's the slider we were looking for, because now our square is doing a way bigger movement. And the last thing we have to do right now is to change the color to the one we are looking for example this one. And since we have two beams like that, we can duplicate that pattern and make sure it's properly delayed, because right now when we launch it, we have like one kind of one pattern because it's overlapped. So we have changed the starting position, and we can change it by 100%. So in our case 50 will be perfect, as we want to put it on the opposite side. And yeah, that's exactly what we are looking for. Since we are not we don't see the rotation very much, we can change the number of frames to make that rotation a little bit faster, for example to 60 or even slower. It's always up to you how you want to make that effect look like. So basically, if you want to achieve something similar to this, we have nothing else like than four squares. So the only thing we need to do is duplicate one of them, change the color to, let's say, red, then change the direction to anti-clockwise, and do exactly the same with the first one, because we need something running in the starting from the different place. So let's go back to the last one. All right, anti-clockwise, and right now we have something like that. All right, so last but not least animation for this episode. Let's say we'll try to do something like that, where we have a different animation on the top, different on the bottom, and after all, the sides are changed. So let's try to recreate the first part, which is two lines on the top. So it's important to set proper starting and end position, and if we have horizontal effect start and start, that means it will work in kind of loop. But if we want to do that, we have to enable always repeat toggle. So we have something like that. Let's see if it's similar. Yeah, we are going in the right direction. So far so good. So the only thing we have to do right now is to shrink it a little bit. Then we can make it a little bit faster. Of course, it all depends on you and the song you're working on. We need to change the position of that because we are interested into animation that is going to the top. So something like that. Alright, so it's one of the three parts of that animation. We can copy that or basically duplicate. And to avoid any misunderstandings, let's change the color. And what we have to do to make sure it won't overlap like this, we have to reverse starting and end position. So right click on that, and to make sure it will look exactly the same but opposite, let's change that negative to positive and positive to negative values. We have exactly like something in the mirror duplicated, but in opposite direction. And basically that's exactly what we wanted to recreate. All right, so we are almost good to go with the next step, which is the circle on the bottom. That's easy peasy because the only thing we have to do is simple shape, is to pick simple shape. We can stay with the circle. Of course, we can play with different style like dotted one or dashed one. And we can change number of colors. As we can see here, we have basically multicolor circle. So it's always up to you how many colors you want to use. We can stick with white or two colors or maybe 5 of them. And we can just go and pick a few of them. Next thing is almost copy paste with these steps we did with these lines at the top, because we need to use a position effect, put it down here, and the next thing is to add movement effect. And as before, we need to set horizontal start and start, set the starting and end position, something like that, number of frames, which means how fast it should go, and always repeat to make it to put it in the loop. Okay, as we can see, it's not going in the right place because we have it a little bit too far, because that position is measured from the very middle of specific animation. So if we put almost 90% to the left, then part of that animation is going outside the projection zone. So we need to keep it a little bit, the movement a little bit smaller, and let's see if it's better. Yeah, way better. We can confirm if we have the same values but opposite on both sliders. So it's 70% negative, 70% positive, which means it's equal and will look good. Alright. I hope that now Beam Creator is not that strange tool to you anymore. If you want more content like this, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.